I like nothingness. I really like nothingness. To enjoy emptiness and to love emptiness and to be the emptiness it asks courage. I was a 4-year-old girl and I was lying in my bed one night and I woke up and the moon was shining in the window, and you know, it's one of those how do you call it, slanted roofs, and then a little window, and that full moon was just passing by. It's probably why I woke up. And then that moon came and I looked at it and suddenly I had this horrendous feeling or frightening feeling of emptiness, total emptiness. It's, you know, the face of the moon, it usually has a little smile and it looks friendly, but in me it evoked a feeling of absolute emptiness. How about, what is death? What if my father isn't there? What if my mother isn't there? What if I am not there? What if I have no name anymore? What if, it were all these what ifs. And I went downstairs and my parents just came back from the theater and I think they had been drinking quite a bit, and there came this little girl, 12 o'clock at night or 1 o'clock, I don't know. And I said, what's death? Can you tell me what death is? And are you gonna die? And then they didn't know exactly what to answer, so they said, well, just go to bed, don't think about it, just go back to bed. So there I went again up and I was lying in my bed again. And now when I think about it, they didn't give me Jesus, they didn't give me Buddha, they didn't give me Allah, they didn't give me, they gave me nothing. So they filled nothing with nothing. 3 years ago, on my birthday, which is exactly 3 years ago, it was the last day of a lot of work that I did. I did the Zauberflöte, right, with the school children, 16, 17, 8-year-old children, and we did the integral Zauberflöte. I did the theater part, right? And my colleague who asked me to do this with him, he did the musical part. And it was an incredible amount of work. After the Zauberflöte, I was again in nothingness. But this nothingness was sweet because I was in the south of France and I was in all these possibilities of what am I going to do, or maybe I'm never going to do anything anymore. Maybe this was the last thing that has been asked of me, you know, except being the granny, because 8 years ago I was not a granny, but now I am a granny. And it's very pleasant to be, it's lovely to be a granny. It's a wonderful role in life. And, but before the Zauberflöte, I wrote poetry, lots of poems in my life. Usually they came about when life wasn't easy. Something urged me to write something down and I put it away in my closet. I have a very good closet, lots of things in my closet. But I thought, well, maybe it's time to pull out all this poetry, about 100 poems, and press it down to a booklet of almost nothing. So, first of all, to get all these poems out of my the computer, from old computer, never printed out, oh yeah, printed out, but still with a typewriter, so it was quite a bit of work. And then I showed it to friends and I asked them, what do you think of these poems? Because most of these poetry I had never, nobody had ever read. It was all in this closet. But there was this feeling, what I said, to press it together and something comes out of it. And so in the end, I made this little book of, I think there are 20 poems in it, or 22 or 23 or 24 out of this 100. And even the poems have been pressed until it was just like the skeleton of what it was before. Many words left out, cherished ideas left out and still pressed. And the book is called The White Screen, Het Witte Doek. And that came out in March this year. And right after that I went to La Gomera, one of the Canarian islands. And I came there and there was again this nothingness. And then something very strange happened. When we arrived there, I was with my friends, and when we arrived there in the middle of the night, we came into some rather big touristic thing near the beach. How do you call it? One of these apartments. Little apartments, and there was an option to have an apartment looking over the ocean and the sunshine and everything like that. But for some reason, my partner, who had chosen this apartment by internet, he hadn't asked enough. So the room we were showed in the middle of the night was on the street side, and it was kind of noisy and the worst thing was there was a smell which made me absolutely totally nauseous. It was so bad that I got into bed. I said to him, well, here I'm not going to stay because this is too bad. I mean, I live in Holland, I live near the seaside, and I have this lovely smell and this lovely air, and the sea comes into my ears when I open my window at night, and here I sit on a street where all these people come by, and there is a smell, a disgusting smell. Well, I can make this very long story of drama, but because of this horrible smell, that was a reason enough to get another apartment. For a few days it was a very good apartment, and after that we had to move again to a horrible apartment, but at least without the smell. And it's hard afterwards now, it's again so many months later. At that point I thought, this is such a dead moment that apparently I have to finish my life. I mean, I really went into it, into the fact that I had, after my little book, The Little Screen, and the option of opening up, I thought, well, it's not the intention that I open up, but it is the intention that I stay closed, and that's it, that I have to do this myself. Finish, because life doesn't ask anything anymore of me. And my children are independent, they live their own lives. Obviously I did what I had to do, and I came to this ocean to end my life. And I really saw the way I was going to do it. And I thought, well, we have 6 days in this, after that rotten apartment, in this nice apartment, and after that we go again to a rotten place, and this is not the intention for me to do. I'm gonna have 6 days left. But, except for the apartment, it was very nice there. I mean, the ocean was fantastic, and the people were very friendly, and the food was nice, and the wine was nice, and the sun was great, and the beach was lovely. And there I walked around with this, and I expressed it to my partner. I said, it's very strange, but I think I have only 6 days left, 5 days left, 4 days left, 3 days left, 2 days left. And this is how people feel when they are going to commit suicide, I think. And it was kind of, you were talking about a witness, I was witnessing this, but it was also, maybe it sounds very strange, and maybe I cannot give the right words to it, but it also felt really real at this point. I had a dream about an old friend of mine who once came to my place, and then he told a funny story. He said he came very late, and he said, yes, the train had, how do you call that? Vertraging. He didn't come in time, came much later. Delayed. The train was delayed, he said, and we were all sitting there in the middle of the meadows, and the train wasn't moving, and it was very strange, and you know, it took half an hour, 3/4 of an hour, and then the conductor of the train was announcing, the train is delayed because the train is delayed. And I think that's a fantastic remark, because you can give a million reasons why the train is delayed, but the train is delayed because the train is delayed. The same friend gave me another example of this fantastic kind of truth. My younger daughter was always very good in finding klavertje 4, which is like the 4-leaf clove, yeah? And she was, as a child, she would walk around here, she used to live here, and then she picked one, there was another one. And then she would walk around, oops, there was another one. No one else could do that. And then he said the lucky event of finding a 4-leaved clove is the lucky event of finding a 4-leaf clove. And I really enjoy that, you know. That's a kind of humor which really, I think is very Buddhistic, maybe. And then, in me, there came like, death is death, you know. Death is death, which is nothing in between. Death is death. But from this, there came this love. If love is love, then there is nothing in between. And I cannot quite grab at this point, telling this story, what made the turn point. But the turn point came by accepting death is death. At that point, I had a day left or 2 days left, I can remember. And then I had this incredible amount of feeling of, and my partner had to share in this because he was amazed by everything I went through. But I said, this is the first time in my life that I'll be totally naked in what is happening to me, because I'm a closet writer, I'm keeping things away from people, I'm trying to protect people, I'm trying to do this and trying to do that, I'm trying to behave, I'm trying to be nice, I'm trying to be kind, I'm trying to be thankful, I'm trying, and this is, I'm not going to try, I'm going to just be naked in the truth which I feel from the ultimate depths of the little child feeling the moon and being totally empty. So death is this emptiness. Just as much as life is this emptiness. And that's what I did. I lived it out. We had the most fantastic fuck in the world, I think, there. And yeah, which was part of it. But I said, because I have been with him, I have also been withholding things. When it was too scary for him, when I become too much of an unknown quantity of life, then I would withdraw, because otherwise, oh, maybe he would not understand me, or maybe he would disappear, or maybe this, or maybe that. I'm a child from parents that have been divorced, and I lost husbands, I lost lovers, and I've always been adjusting a little bit here and adjusting a little bit there. And now I thought, fuck it, I cannot adjust anymore, because I harm myself, I harm this life, I harm it, and I cannot do it anymore. And that's what I expressed. And that's where, and at that point, love came out, because I did the ultimate death, allowing death as the total emptiness, and then love came. And it was love to love for love, love as I love to love. That's the only sentence which will, for me, be the answer of what is. It's I love to love. And if I love to love, then that's an internal, that's a totally hard thing here inside. If I don't do it, I'm my own shadow. I create my own shadow. And if I can enjoy the shadow and I can love the shadow, it's part of love the love. Because it's, I think, I know, I feel, that's the only way life is worth to live.
What do you mean by creating your own shadow?
Well, when you start to think about things. This morning I woke up and then I had this incredible feeling of sunshine and birthday and happiness and then suddenly there was a dip inside me and it became like a shadow fell on my totally open-hearted feeling. And it was later I found out what happened. I didn't know in the beginning, but suddenly there was this change of mood, like a cloud, you know. And then for my birthday, one of my very, very best friends, a couple of days ago, she came to me, she said, I made this necklace. Would you like that? Would it fit you? Would you like to get it for your birthday? And because of her question, I started also questions. So I started to think, well, it's black, and am I using that? And is it okay with my clothes? And would I? So I said, well, maybe not, not this one, maybe. And yesterday, another friend of me came, and she gave me this necklace, and she just gave it to me, this one here, which I'm wearing right now, which I think is beautiful. And this morning I thought of the necklace that my very, very, very dear friend wanted to give me, and I said no. And I suddenly had this feeling of regret. Not because so much of the necklace, but because I just didn't, I put my thoughts in between. And that's the cloud. So I had a telephone call with her. And I said, well, it sounds maybe very strange, but I want to tell you what happened. I would love to get the necklace anyway, because I will wear it and I'll share it and or cherish it, and it's a gift of the heart. And I can see now, because you asked me, you think you'll like to get this necklace? I started to think. So that's not, if you would have given me, said, this is what you get for your birthday, I would have said, oh, fantastic, how lovely. But because of this thinking thing, she said it because she was afraid to give me the necklace, and that maybe I wouldn't like it, or maybe she would embarrass me, or that I wouldn't wear it and I wouldn't like to tell her or something. But no, we made that mistake. Love to love, you know. Then there's nothing in between. It's the gift of a friend gives something she made. So I had this conversation with her, and the tears were on over my cheeks, because I could express it. I could be honest about it. And during this conversation with Els, my friend, she asked me about Satchidananda. And I tell you something, Satchidananda have been for me for years a questioning life. Being, Sat, and Chit, consciousness, and then Ananda is bliss. And I really got into the being, just being. And the consciousness is the awareness of being, the awareness. But Ananda is bliss. And I always had a feeling I missed out on the bliss. I really, honestly, in my secret closet, I knew I missed out on the bliss. Except maybe in a moment, you know, a moment and another moment. But love to love has, to me, given the answer of Ananda. Love to love. It's all there is. Except it fills itself up with regret, with hate, with war, with this, with that, with all this, with love, with relation love, with children love, with parents love. I mean, all these, it's all that. But now, at this point, 68 years old and a few hours, it is not a concept, but it's something to... It's experiencing life in all its colors and all its moods and all its things from moment to moment. And sometimes I'm inside it, and sometimes I'm outside it, and I'm just, you know, eaten up by it for a moment, and then I come back to, yeah, I don't know, just love to love.